Hello and welcome back to this channel. Recently, I've been asking myself, and I realized on the channel, I never, hardly ever talk about my all-time favorite plants I've ever grown. And in today's video, I think it would be extremely fun to cover that. So in today's video, I'm going to be covering my top 8 favorite plants I've ever grown in this video. Now, before I do start, please subscribe, hit the bell notification on all so you do not miss another video, and please like this video. Let's go and start talking about some incredible plants. Well, this is the first plant, called Sun Patience. Honestly, this has a little bit of a strange story behind it, because this is the first year I've ever grown Sun Patience. As of about 4 months ago, I didn't even know this plant existed. I remember I was heading up to the garden center to pick up this beautiful tropical plant, and in the idea, I really wanted to do a full circle around the plant with some incredible flowers. Honestly, I was thinking of impatiens, maybe marigolds, and then in the process, I got distracted by one beautiful type of flower, and that was the Sun Patience. So after 4 months has gone by, I have these all over the garden. Now, as you can see through this pot, I have 4 different colors of Sun Patience: a white purple, a lipstick red, an orangey red, and a beautiful purple. What's interesting is out of all 8 plants I'm talking about in today's video, this is the only flower that will be on this list. Let's head over to my second favorite. The next plant is going to be lavender. Honestly, last year when I decided to expand the garden into this patio area, I was stumbled on the idea of what to grow. So going through many aisles and multiple different garden centers, I got the recommendation on this channel actually to consider growing lavender. So after doing some research, I ended up planting it for the first time. I planted 3 last year, and honestly, it was worth it. But for the idea of something smelling amazing, lavender is my #1 choice. Honestly, when I smell the flower, it smells like I'm walking through a candy shop. And as you can see, it is flowering like crazy. And what's even crazier is the fact that I cut off all the flowers that were blooming a little less than a week ago. So once they do develop a very strong root structure, they do start to grow very quickly. They are also delicious in tea or maybe a homemade lemonade. You can also use it for a lot of other stuff, which I have not yet tried, but I do plan to very soon. Now, lavender is incredible, but the next plant I'm going to be talking about is just as awesome: lemongrass. Honestly, this plant is incredible. From how big it grows, over 6 feet, what I've heard, to the idea of this smells delicious. I've also worked with this in tea and adding a little bit more flavor to lemonade, and this is worth the while. Now, I obviously still have a lot more to learn about this plant, but I definitely do plan to grow this as the next years go by. Let's go on to my 4th favorite. My 4th favorite is basil. Now, when it comes to agriculture and growing plants, I don't really grow as much plants outdoors than I do indoors. And basil is one of them that I would much rather prefer to grow indoors, because honestly, I've almost perfected the idea of growing basil indoors. As you can see, I'm struggling a little bit growing them outdoors, but fingers crossed it grows a lot more as we head into the fall season. But really quickly, let's just talk about what basil has to offer. Basil is so fantastic, honestly, dried and using it for seasoning. It's fantastic for a lot of Italian dishes, like putting it in a lasagna, or honestly, I put it in my fettuccine alfredo before. And don't get me started on the smell. When I harvest basil indoors, honestly, my entire facility smells like basil for a good 3 days after harvest. Now, basil is extremely fun to grow, but let's head over to the next plant where we'll be talking about my 5th favorite: mint. It is delicious. Now, in a way, this is kind of a 2-in-1 selection for the 5th choice, because I got 2 different types of mint plants right here: peppermint and spearmint. Now, out of the 3 years I've worked with this garden, I've definitely grown these plants before, but I've never grown them at the same time, so this is definitely a first. Honestly, I get a lot of people asking what on earth is the difference, because they're both mint. Honestly, spearmint is fantastic, but it isn't as strong. If I could choose one or the other, I would choose spearmint, like lemonade or tea. Peppermint is a little bit overpowering. In some ways, peppermint is almost too strong. Now, typically, you'll see peppermint used in toothpaste or in a lot of dental products. Now, I know I'm making peppermint seem much worse than spearmint, but honestly, it really depends on the purpose you're planning to use them. Honestly, even though they're both a mint plant, it's crazy how differently you can use each one that gives a different taste. Now, I've talked about these a ton, but let's go on to number 6. Tomatoes. Honestly, when it comes down to planting my garden, tomato is always the very first plant that I have on the list to grow that year. What's strange is I'm not the biggest fan of eating tomatoes, but for some reason, they are so fun to grow. Now, out of the last 3 years of doing this incredible garden, this is probably the smallest tomato section I've had all the years. Before, I've had bigger sections, but this year I decided to go a little bit smaller and focus on one of my favorites, the beefsteak tomato. Now you can see I got one right here. This has been growing for about 2 weeks, and fingers crossed, hopefully it'll be ripe very soon. What I also love about tomato plants is they are so easy to grow. When it comes down to growing a garden and working with hundreds of different types of plants, it's really nice to have a few plants in your garden that you just need to water and watch grow. And this is that plant. Now the thing is, with me growing indoors and outdoors a lot, this is one of the plants I hardly ever grow indoors because the plant's huge. But now that we've talked about the tomato plant, let's go on to number 7, rosemary. What an incredible plant. Now rosemary's always fascinated me because number 1, out of all the plants I'm growing in the garden, if there was a drought and there's no water, rosemary would survive the longest. Now a lot of people like to call rosemary the desert plant because it really does not need that much water. It's almost like a house plant. It's incredible to grow. Truly right now, I'm growing a ton of it indoors. I got an entire shelf full. But being completely honest, it grows by far the slowest out of any plant I've ever grown. So sometimes the plant will test your patience depending on how much you really do need rosemary. But truly, when you're able to dry it and use it as seasoning, maybe putting it on pizza or some other dishes, this adds so much flavor, and truly when it's harvested, it smells amazing. Honestly, if I could only pick 2 of my favorite smelling plants on this list of 8 plants, it is definitely gonna have to be lavender and rosemary. Both their smells just can't be beat by anything. Now that I've really talked about rosemary, let's head over to the final plant, number 8. Now it's so difficult making this list because I'm growing so many things in here. We got potatoes, corn, peas were growing there. It was a bad season. I got cucumbers back there. You can see back there, I got thyme and lemon balm. But number 8, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to head over to a vine plant, and that is gonna be pumpkins. Honestly, when it comes down to October, pumpkins by far are my favorite plants to grow and harvest during that season. There's no October without pumpkins. When it comes down to finding the pumpkins, that part's fun, but I've never looked forward to taking out the plant and winterizing the entire section because the vines fill up gardening bags so quickly. The vines are sharp, and this is a huge pumpkin field. In this section right here, we've planted over 15 different types of pumpkin, ranging from Jack B. Little, jack-o'-lantern, white pumpkins, black pumpkins, weird-shaped pumpkins, original type of pumpkins, and a crazy amount of extremely unique pumpkins. Now, sadly, this is going to be the end of the video, but down in the comments, out of all the 8 plants I talked about in today's video, what is your favorite? But of course, please subscribe, hit the bell notification on all so you do not miss another video, and please like this video. Thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.